Oseyo, Oseyo to the family, Hiya to the tribe of Turtle Island, and greetings to everyone else, the visitors, and those who just dropped in. This is TAIFA World Ministry, and let me explain something about this ministry. Now, I'm not the prime minister, I answer to the prime minister. And I have to share this because I notice there's quite a lot of inquiries or people come on the feed or in the chat on the live talking about their religion, asking me questions about the scriptures. Well, that's not what this ministry is about. There's 7 spheres of a ministry. They include, these are the 7 spheres. You can take one or two or leave them or all of them, but they are family, that's first, religion, education, media and entertainment, business, and government. Now, I don't cover all these, but I do talk about education because my position in the ministry is teacher. I'm not an apostle, I'm not a prophet, I'm not an evangelist, I'm not a pastor. I'm the last on the list because that's what I'm qualified to do. I was trained as a teacher, certified as a teacher, taught as a teacher, and that's my whole life as a teacher. So I'm not trying to be any more than what I am. And, you know, in a lot of countries, they have ministers instead of departments. America has departments emphasizing this business corporation status. So as a ministry, with the head being a minister, we have ministers for different departments. Now, eventually, those who come on with the skills will have the ministry of personnel, ministry of wars. Hope we don't need that, but we will. Minister of justice, minister of works and revenue. So, also, my major influence in this ministry is works and revenue to provide finances to the tribes and whatever projects they got going on. So we don't even talk about religion unless it's bypassing to make a point. But if you want me to boil it down to, I'm on the screen. I guess you needed to see who I was. But I try to keep this camera up close because I have not given the pictures. I have not given the permission to take my picture every few seconds. So if you want to get the root of my ministry is the education of this ministry. It's not mine. It belongs to the prime minister. And we'll get into that another time. So I'm going to talk about a little background being a Texan from the state of Texas. You know, it was in 1964 in the Civil Rights Act when they found that less than 2% of they call them Negro then, students in 11 Confederate states were attending integrated schools. Now remember this Brown versus Board of Education was 10 years earlier, 1954. So it took them 10 years to even begin to implement it. And then by 1965, a few years later, it was up to 12%. See, this is what the government did because I'm gonna show you how they knew this integration thing was failure from the beginning. First off, we were taken from our schools and our 11 teachers, we as tribes are, and we was placed in communities where we were not wanted. Why were we not wanted? Because we were forced, they were forced to accept us. If any school district did not go along with this forced integration, they would lose their federal funding for their schools. So the government, federal so-called federal government, made an offer to the states that they could not refuse. If they not let the Negro students in the schools, they would have to close down their schools because they would not receive the needed funding. So let's make you unwanted. Would you be would okay, this is what I'm saying. You can force people to let you in, but you can't force them to teach you. So you can understand how these schools districts and the teachers had an attitude because the government was forcing us to go to places where were not wanted. We were not welcome. So I think they happy to see us and want to educate the black students. Heck no. They didn't. They started going to private schools and left the public schools to us. This is what happened. They said we don't even want to be around them people. It's the same thing happened with the carpetbaggers when they sent these Negroes down south to try to gyp them out of their land. And it's a whole lot to this. It's levels to this. But I want to bring this point out because a lot of people think that they have the opinion that integration is a good thing. Now, one, and I don't know who you're gonna get this from because I grew up in that era. Yes, I'm a baby boomer, so I grew up in that era. I know exactly what was taking place, even though I was young, teenager. I knew exactly what was going on. More so now, having gained the experience and wisdom that I have. So is a plan guaranteed to make us fail as a people? Guaranteed to make us fail. There's a whole lot to talk about on this subject. But let me see anybody in. Rebecca, hey, I'm looking forward to seeing you. There was a Rebecca Gonzalez, I recall. I don't think that's you. It might be. But I appreciate you coming on, dear. Um, yeah, I got a lot to say on this topic. But I'm doing some research now. I have to cut it short because I'm on this 14th Amendment. You know, it brought to my attention how this 14th Amendment, y'all not ready for this. The narrative has been switched, y'all. I'm gonna just put it out there. If you saw the movie Trading Places with Eddie Murphy being taken out of poverty, being rich, and the rich being placed in poverty, That's why they call it trading places, because the opposite actually happened. They traded places with us. The melanated people, we was running the schools, the government. That's what the Civil War was all about, getting us out of government by force of arms. This happened all over the South. And yeah, so the 14th Amendment was to release slavery of the indentured servants. Them was the slaves. See, they switched the narratives and made us melanated people be like we the slaves. So that way they give you a complex of victim status, and you're always looking like somebody did you wrong, and you won't progress. But we are the ones who oppress them. And it shows, it's so easy to see, because why else would they plan these devious things against us to make sure we lose our identity and put us down, and every time one of us rise up to lead us to freedom, you shoot them down. There has to be a generational hatred. And I'm saying this generation hatred comes from what we did to them in Europe. They've never forgotten that. Even though we brought civilization to them, there was a lot of slavery taking place, things that we should not have done. Things that's been done to us now as a people, these are things that we did to them. So they're the real victims here, not us. And this 14th Amendment, oh boy, it's so much to this. Anybody want to talk to me? I can answer some questions before I leave. Rebecca Literal. I think that's Rebecca. I'm not gonna say her last name. I think that's why she took it off. She didn't want her name to be known. I'm sorry. I apologize, Rebecca, for saying your name, your full name. But you put it up there. Now you put up just one, your first name. So I can't say your last name, even though I think I know what it is. Okay. Get kind of boring up here talking to myself. Nobody want to speak to me? It's here. Okay, Rebecca, last chance. I'm out of here. Hiya, hiya. Oseo.